Hello everyone, I'm Dilisha Maharjan. Currently, I'm working at eSewa as Associate UI UX Designer. So, our today's topic is design that speaks, user-centric approach. So, firstly, what is user-centric design? User-centric design is any design that where we are highly prioritizing the user and what they need. Any product that we are bringing into the market, they have the specific need from the user side, and we will be also considering all the business aspect plus user need and the user experience. So if any project is, if we are working on any project, first the basic basic scenario behind going into the before going into the design is user research and analysis, and then what kinds of user are directed for this certain product, and what are their needs, if our requirement is meeting their expectation or not. All kinds of these are done on user and resource analysis, and then concept design is done and all the design work are iterations are done, and then the product is tested with usability testing or other any testing the company follows, and then the product is developed and then it is product launched. So how user-centric design we can design in user-centric way. So this is the best, this is the only the basic formula that we are discussing today. So firstly, in order to design in the user-centric way, we have to know who our users are and our basic user requirements and the product functionality along with the user experience. So while we are bringing any product that has the monetization, we have to also look after the business requirement and prioritize the business goal. But during this, we cannot forget the user experience. If the user is not happy with what they are getting, they will not think twice before switching the product. So in order to keep the user into our product, we should design in such a way that user is also convinced and it is easy to navigate and use the product. So today we will be talking about the essential elements in user-centered design to achieve this user-centric approach. And they are visibility, accessibility, uh, readability. So all of these topic will be discussed in the upcoming slides. So firstly, let's begin with visibility. So visual hierarchy matters a lot during the designing, and it also direct the user how the app is functioning and where the you should navigate as a user in the application. So we should provide the minimal clicks to the user so that they have more time saving goals, because everyone is busy and they don't want to waste much time in any product, and there are many competitors of the same product in the market. So it should be minimal design with simple navigation. So if we look after this two design, here the first design shows the third party login method in the multiple layers of the line, whereas the second image shows it is sorted in a simple way with a single line. So the first design looks a bit complicated compared to second, because we cannot assume that user have the very fancy mobile phone all the time. User may have, but we cannot assume everyone does, because if we put this design in simpler small mobile phones, the first design will be scrollable probably, so it is not good user experience. If the third alternation of the login system like join with Google is not visible enough to the user, they will never know that there are other options as well. So similar in the second image, we can see all the options are sorted in a single line. User can easily also recognize with the symbols or the icons that is provided. It is simple and easy to navigate. So similarly, so there is a certain pattern when user follows the website or any content they are watching. So first is F pattern. This is the natural way of scanning. So this is how we read the books, and it is very easy for user to navigate, and it is a natural way of scanning the website. So mostly this F pattern is used for research based website like news articles and heavy text pages like they will have research papers, that kind of. So if we also watch at look after the newspaper, they also have the small section where the entire page is divided into certain content where and they go through that pattern. And another is jet pattern. So this is the good solution for minimal copy and few key elements that need to be seen. It goes with the minimal design for the it mostly focus on the CTS button that products specifically focus on. For example, in this image, you can see the Facebook want us to create an account. So if we scan thoroughly to the jet pattern, the endpoint that we are ending is create an account button. And um, the scanning process during the website visit by the user are not only through this the only in the login button. If you also see the general simple website, we can see the left side with the logo and right side with the any button that is login, and center part is highlighted with a certain image that they want to draw attention to, and then they will ask for us to buy or buy the product or log into the system. So that's how jet pattern works. So another is visual hierarchy. Visual hierarchy is important for user to navigate through the website or any product they are interacting with. So if we look after this image that we can see, the title is very bold and we know what we are looking after. So this visual hierarchy, also the example of newspaper where they build a certain headline with a very big font, and they follows with the some attention grabbing images, and then they um, they put a heading of in between from some paragraph that interests you to read the whole news. So similarly the visual hierarchy works. So if we look into this, the image is also not distracting, it's blending with the title here, what are you looking for, and image are exactly defining the title. So visual hierarchy is important for the user in order to know what they are getting and what they are looking after, if there is exactly what their needs fulfilled or not. Okay, so next is color and contrast. So there is a certain psychology behind every color that are used. Red makes you feel passionate, and energized. It often associated with passion and love, as well as anger and danger. So we can see red is also used at the buttons where the application asks if you really want to delete it or you want to cancel the process. And for the marketing purpose, here we can see the Coca-Cola have used the or red color with which also generates some kinds of excitement. And similarly, the yellow color is associated with energy, hope, laughter, happiness, and warmth. Yellow is found to make a person feel spontaneous and happy. So if we look after all the emoji that we found on our mobile application, they are all yellow. So it is also said that yellow yellow color aids in releasing some kinds of happy hormone in our brain, happy chemical reaction, I would say. So it is also referred as happy chemical generation. So mostly smileys are, we can say that they are used in yellow color. So blue is the king of the color. It evokes the feeling of trustworthiness and calm, which is why the big corporation like Twitter and Facebook are also using the blue color. And it also appears in more than half of all the logo design we see in the market. And here the green makes you feel refreshed, relaxed, probably because it is associated with nature. Green is easy on eyes and can be used to create balance in design as well. And it also we can see it also evokes the feeling of some calmness when we look after the green. So here, this is the only few number of the colors that I have been able to mention in this presentation, but there are the other colors like purple. It reflects the reality, luxuriness. So if we look after the angel and others beauty brands, they are mostly used, they have probably mostly used have purple color, which reflects the kind of fashion and luxury and royalty that evokes a feeling the user of being luxurious. So, okay, while designing, we should also look after the color and contrast. Here in this picture, the color and contrast are made very convincing to the user that the over the photo lends to striking design and pop off the page of the screen. We can also look after the text, and again the photo is also grabbing our attention. So um, this is generally done in today's web designs, that is the trendy form of designing. So color and contrast plays an important role. We should be still be able to read the text even if we are doing something with the contrast in the background. But most of the time what we see is the text is lost between the uh, colors of the background that we cannot read at all. But as a designer we have to also look after the all the users that we may have. Some may not be able to read small text, and not will be they will be probably be disturbed about the colors they are having. So we need to have a harmony and unity among the colors and balance it accordingly. So next we have the accessibility. So accessibility is for the all the users, designing for all the users, including the one that they are disabled. So if we look after the today's the design pattern, we can see in the website where they give the option of also we can also make that font bigger or smaller and change the color into black and white for those who have color issues like color blinds issues. And if you look after this image at the right side here, the spacing between the first image is very narrow, that if user wants to click on first button, he may mistakenly click on second because the distance between the buttons are very narrowed and it's not enough. Similarly, if we look after the second one, the 44px button, and here the buttons space between the multiple buttons are also enough that user can easily click the desired button he want to. So we cannot assume that everyone have the same hand or same length same length of thumb size. So we can see that if we can also see that nowadays the many youngster like children are also using the phone, and some devices may not be compatible for that. But yet if we cannot design for the user as a children, because their hand will be probably small and their thumb size will be probably small, that if their parents want to access the same application, so the same thing will happen with as of this narrow button size, that if they want to click one thing they will be clicking the another button. So accessibility is not only about toss targets or making the font size bigger, it's also about making the accessible design for all the platform. Like if we are designing for web, we are compelled to make the design responsive for the mobile users as well, and the device will be not be dependent on their size. So it will be anything we design should be scalable according to the design. We cannot assume that all the users have same kinds of devices, and users should also have enough time to read anything we are presenting. That if we are using a toast button, they should have enough time for them to read the toast message that we are presenting. So here is the basic uh, design for the human finger size. It is it is in practice to use 42px as a small button and 60 as medium, 72 as large. So it depends on the also the application that we are designing and the context we are designing where these buttons are used. So if we see, we most of the application have an fingerprint option nowadays. So the primary if the primary function of the application of logging in is fingerprint, then probably we would use a large button at the center of the application for more better user experience. Similarly, at the same time, if the application is providing asking for the first time login user, if you want to authenticate with biometrics, then we will probably have to make a space for input field as well. So at that time, we will probably have to use a small button size. So this is the mobile screen that is divided into three categories, that is left hand, combined zones, and right hand. So the natural reach, the purple field reflects the reach that our thumb can reach with a single handed while we are holding our phone with single hand for the left hand user. Similarly, at the center, we can see here the natural reach is quite bigger than the first one. Here the user are using the both hands, and on the third side, if the user is right hand users, he have the opposite of the left hand users reach. So while designing, we should consider it that our basic functionality are within the reach of our thumb, so that user don't have to stretch their fingers to reach the basic functionality or the simple tasks they are doing daily. So here I have an example. Here this is the interface of the YouTube. The first one is a very old one, but if you see, they have the navigation at the top, and as per our previous as per our this hand raised areas, this navigation is out of the reach of the thumb. Similarly, the second image, if you we can see that the navigation button has been bring as the thumb reach area, that is purple zone area, and the user are easily accessing the everything at the menu, and they can easily scroll and click at the desired videos. So we should also consider this kind of thing while we designing for the user, and especially for the mobile designs. So another important factor for the designing is typography. Typography play a major role in any applications. So there are different type of font, or let's say typographic type. First is serif, and then sans serif, and the commons are script and decorative. So serif are the one that have the sharp edge at the end of the letters. If you see here, at the end of the s, it is bit sharpness step, and similarly in the sans serif, no, it is not any sharp uh, edges at the end of the letters. And the script is the fancy one that we can also say cursive writings, and decorative is the one that we mostly see on wedding cards and other events where the people are being bit enjoyment or stylish. So mostly, so we cannot use this font anywhere we want. So if we are making a health application, there we cannot use the script font because it does not define the health application's purpose. So if we see here, sans serif defines sans serif define itself as modern and minimal and clean font, which is mostly used among all the applications. And the common fonts of sans serif are Robo to Open Sans. So similarly, the serif is the one that shows a little bit traditional fonts, I would say. Like New Times Romans, we only write it up for the official purpose most of the time. And all the application that we see today uses the sans serif font. You can check any fonts, they won't have any sharp edges at the end of their font. So script font are mostly used on beauty brands and fashions related things, because it defines what the script is, the elegant and uniqueness. So if we go to any clothing store, mostly their name would be written as a script font. So handwritten and decoratives are the other fonts that does not comply with inside the major category of sans serif or serif fonts. They are the other, I would say they falls on other categories. Okay, so decorative fonts are the one that we see the big fonts at the weddings and events, where they want us to look after the font and rate what the event is for. And if we look after the how typography use, or let's break down into the font first. So okay, here if we see the pictures that we were also talking about the color and contrast. Here the first and second picture, if you look out after this, we cannot see, or we are not able to read the font because of the background. The background is too dark and font is not contrasting with it to able, so the user is able to read. And we should be mindful of the things that what colors are we are using. So most of the time what we are doing is, what our brand, we will overuse our brand color everywhere. Button color is brand, we are using button color as brand color, also text color as brand color. So we should minimize that. um, that is not a good choice every time. It may also look like this, the first and second example. And here in the third, if we see there is a clear background of white and there's a simple black text, that it does not dramatize anything and or make a special pain point for any users to read about it. User can easily read the text and find what the content is. So okay, earlier we talked about the type of font we have. So generally we say we are using this kind of font. I'm using Roboto font, I'm using Source Sans font, but the Roboto and Source Sans are only the typeface, and the subcategory like regular, bold, semi bold are called fonts. So maybe most of the people don't know about this. I was also not aware of it unless I had any research on that. So the parent are called typeface and the children are called fonts. Okay, so the readability in any application, we we should focus on what user are getting the contents. For example, if we are asking for any permission to the user, we should be able to make the user to read the text properly, right? So we cannot mess up with the font at that time, because sometimes we are also agreeing with the permission that is very crucial to our privacy. So if we look after this, the first font is very big, that it take a half of the mobile screen and it is very scrollable to the end, and it is not a good user experience for the user if the half of the phone is filled with only the title. How user will interest on reading the whole topic, right? It may work as the attention grabbing things, but it is the not right way to for a good user experience. So at the right picture we can see the perfect amount of font size, and the sub sub text is also the well enough to read, and user can easily read it. It is not constructing with any background color, it is clear and concise. So another thing that we mostly mess up with is white space background. People think white space is a little bit of making it very very much like spacey, that maybe we can add something here, and then they keep on adding something to fill the white space, and by the end it became very clustered. And if we see old website, there is all uh, ads popping over all from all the sides, and the content is just a little bit at the center. Nowadays this kinds of site can be, so the Nepali news portal, they have the ads popping over from all the space that are available. So we should also use the white space in an effective way that user does not distract the attention, and also get the content that they are looking after. So in the first pick, if we see, there is the less white space and text is very much narrowed in between, and it is not properly readable. Even if you want to read for a bit, he may lose a concentration of wanting to read it for until the end. So if we see after the second picture, the text is also concise. It is up to the user natural pace of reading. That is the way we read books. And then negative space is not about always being a bad side. It can also be helpful, and come up as a clean and simple design if we manage it properly. So another very specific thing is alignment. We should be aware of the alignment that we are using, because usually we'll be distracted if this alignment is very very much exactly presented. So first, if we see the here is also the maintenance of hierarchy, typography hierarchy, that we also saw earlier on visual hierarchy. So first title is bold, and then subtext is medium, and then body is light, which is also maintaining the typography hierarchy. And uh, if we see the most of the people does is they want to fit a certain paragraph into the with single width, and they decrease the font size as per their want, which is not a good practice. So if we look after the mobile design uh, mobile design practice, we use minimum 14 px for the human readable text, that is primary for the user, and for the any secondary text we can use 12 px, but only on the certain text that does not need much of the user attention. So if we see the card at the bottom of the slide, that the first card without the typography hierarchy and the proper font size, the first card is very much unappealing for the user, that it does not attract user at all. And the second picture, if we see there is the typography hierarchy, there we can see the visible name of the user and their contact number and the website address. So the another thing that we should also be careful about typography is the natural reach of human eye movement is from in this image, if we see, is ideal range, that is from 0 to 40 or 60 in case of web. And if we look after the newspaper, they also have uh, even if the newspaper is very big, their content is divided into the small section of the paragraph or column, that is the ideal range reach 0 to 60 or 40. That is because this is the natural human eye movement can reach at one time. User may lose the pace of reading the things if it is too long. So if we look at some website, they have the alert button that is um, going from left to right, which is not a good practice. Similarly, if we look after the toast, it will just appear on the top right corner, which have the minimal text, and if the text is long, that is break into two lines. So designing is all about the user requirement, but also considering the what user needs and how user can interact with it. So we may not be aware of it, but we should also look after the things that user are comfortable, and how our design is doing the things with user needs. So we should also always empathize the user, how they will be able to read this thing. So similarly, in the previous example, if we see the same thing, the font size, if the first one where the title was very big, it was covering the half of the mobile screen. If that was about reaching the place screen of 0 to 60, then we can imagine that it is the same text taking the more space is causing the user to invest more time on getting the product, and scrolling through the phone is the very much time consuming for the user, and also not keeping them interested in the content. So we should consider all these things. So here, by conclude we if we need to conclude this from all the things that we just have read. First thing is, we should also be always be aware of the simple navigation, that is hierarchy, and reduce clutter, that is we should not add anything that we want in white space. We should make some space for the content to be visible and pop up. and prioritize the key content. We should always prioritize our key content in mobile design within the thumb reach and improve the readability. We should not use any smaller font with our convenience or being the judge of our own application. We should always empathize on user and their pain points, and we should make the user readable more efficient and stay consistent. We should Our application should be consistent among all the pages it follows, and it also follows by the color and contrast. We cannot use brand color and everywhere we want, especially not as a background, and where we saw the example of the background being very dark and text were not readable. And another thing that will help in uh, this UI UX from the business perspective of our application is uh, real-time support, providing real-time support to the user and deliver a secure experience. The user may not think twice while switching the product. So in order to keep the user in our application, we should provide a great experience for that. This was for today. Thank you.